There is a strange moment that happens before almost every major money-making opportunity. Nobody believes it matters yet. The technology looks confusing. The industry looks boring. The opportunity looks too small. And most people are too busy dealing with today's problems to notice what could become important 5 years from now. Then something changes. The technology gets cheaper. Businesses start spending money. New jobs appear. Entire industries begin adapting. And suddenly, everyone wants to know how they can get in. By then, the people who were paying attention early are already positioned. That could be happening right now. And the opportunity I'm talking about isn't just another stock, another cryptocurrency, or another internet side hustle. It's a much bigger shift happening across the American economy. AI is changing how businesses operate. Energy demand is changing. Data centers are expanding. Companies are automating work. And the value of certain skills is changing faster than many people realize. The question isn't whether these changes are coming. They're already here. The real question is, are you going to benefit from the change or simply pay for it? Let's start with something most people don't think about when they hear the word AI. Electricity. You can open an AI tool on your phone in seconds. It feels almost weightless. You type a question, press a button, and receive an answer. But behind that simple experience is a massive physical system. There are servers running somewhere. There are buildings filled with computing equipment. There are cooling systems keeping those machines from overheating. There are networks moving enormous amounts of information. And all of it requires power. That's why the AI story is becoming an energy story. And the energy story is becoming an infrastructure story. This is important because people often focus on the most visible part of a trend. They see the AI application. They see the famous technology company. They see the newest product. But economic opportunities often appear one layer deeper. Think about what happens when millions of businesses start using more technology. They need computers. They need electricity. They need buildings. They need faster networks. They need security. They need technicians. They need construction workers. They need engineers. They need maintenance. They need suppliers. They need people who understand how all these pieces fit together. Suddenly, something that looked like a software trend becomes a much larger economic ecosystem. And that's where your thinking needs to change. Instead of asking, what's the next company that's going to explode? Ask, what will this new economy need more of? That's a much more powerful question. Because you don't necessarily have to own the thing everybody is excited about. Sometimes the opportunity is in supplying what everyone else needs. And this isn't just about investing. It can apply to your career. It can apply to your business. It can apply to the skills you decide to learn. Consider what is happening inside a normal American company. A marketing team can now use AI to research customers, organize information, create drafts, analyze campaigns, and speed up repetitive work. A salesperson can use AI to prepare for meetings, research prospects, and organize follow-ups. A small business owner can use AI to handle routine administrative tasks. A developer can use AI to speed up parts of the coding process. A financial professional can use technology to process and organize large amounts of information faster. The important part isn't that AI can do these things. The important part is what happens to the person who knows how to use it effectively. That's where a new advantage can develop. Two people can have similar education, similar experience, similar salaries. But if one person can consistently use new tools to produce better results in less time, their economic value can change. That person doesn't have to be the smartest person in the office. They don't have to know how to build an AI model. They simply need to know how to make technology useful. And that distinction matters. Because the next money wave may not reward people who simply know about AI. It may reward people who know what to do with it. That means your next investment might not be a stock. It might be a skill. Think about the return on that investment. If you spend 6 months learning something that helps you earn an additional $500 a month, that's not just knowledge. That's an asset. If that skill helps you negotiate a higher salary, find better clients, start a side business, or become more productive at work, it can continue paying you long after the course or training is finished. And unlike a stock, nobody can take that skill away from you. Your employer can change. Your industry can slow down. A company can lay people off. But skills that remain valuable can travel with you. That's why one of the smartest things you can do during an economic transition is ask, what can I learn that makes me more useful? Not more impressive. Not more educated on paper. More useful. Because businesses pay for results. They pay for people who can increase revenue, reduce costs, save time, solve problems, find customers, build systems, and make complicated things easier. That's where money starts moving. But there's another side to this story that most people ignore. You can identify the greatest economic opportunity of the decade and still miss it. Why? Because you don't have any financial room to participate. Maybe your entire paycheck is already committed. Rent takes one part. The car payment takes another. Credit cards take another. Subscriptions quietly take another. Eating out takes another. Then the month ends, and there's nothing left. That's a serious problem when the economy starts changing. Because financial flexibility is itself an advantage. If you have an emergency fund, you have breathing room. If you have manageable expenses, you have options. If you have little high-interest debt, more of your income stays under your control. And if you consistently save money, you create something extremely valuable. The ability to say yes. Yes to an opportunity. Yes to learning a new skill. Yes to starting a business. Yes to changing careers. Yes to investing when the right opportunity appears. Without financial breathing room, even a great opportunity can pass you by. That's why the next money wave begins with something surprisingly boring. Getting your financial house in order. You don't need to become rich first. You need to become flexible, and that means understanding where your money goes. Look at your monthly expenses. Look at your debt. Look at your savings. Look at your income. Then ask yourself one uncomfortable question. If my income stopped tomorrow, how long could I survive? That answer tells you something about your financial position. And here's another question. If my income increased by $1,000 a month, would my life actually improve, or would my spending simply increase by $1,000? Because making more money doesn't automatically make someone wealthy. If expenses rise every time income rises, you're simply moving faster on the same treadmill. That's why the next money wave isn't only about earning. It's about keeping. It's about building enough margin between what you make and what you spend that your money can start creating options for you. And this becomes even more important when debt enters the picture. Debt isn't always bad. A mortgage, student loan, or business loan can sometimes finance something valuable. But expensive consumer debt can quietly destroy financial flexibility. A person earning $70,000 with manageable expenses can sometimes be in a stronger position than someone earning $120,000 while carrying enormous monthly payments. Income tells you how much money comes in. It doesn't tell you how much freedom you actually have. And freedom is what allows you to move when the economy changes. Now think about the next 5 years. AI becomes more integrated into businesses. Data centers continue expanding. Electricity demand changes. Companies invest in automation. New industries grow around these technologies. Some old jobs change. Some new jobs appear. Some skills become less valuable. Others become much more valuable. You don't need to predict exactly which company wins. You don't need to know exactly what the economy looks like in 2031. You need to become adaptable. That's one of the biggest financial advantages you can build. Because the future is almost never exactly what people predict. The people who survive change aren't necessarily the people who predicted every event correctly. They're the people who can respond when reality doesn't match the plan. That's why curiosity matters. Keep learning. Follow where businesses are investing. Watch what technologies companies are adopting. Pay attention to which skills employers are demanding. Look at where infrastructure is being built. Notice what problems businesses are willing to spend money to solve. Those are clues. And you don't need to act on every clue. In fact, you shouldn't. The goal isn't to chase every trend. The goal is to recognize the direction of change. Because once you understand the direction, you can make better decisions. You can choose what to learn. You can choose where to spend your time. You can decide which industries deserve deeper research. You can prepare your finances. You can build an emergency fund. You can reduce expensive debt. You can create multiple ways to earn. And you can keep enough cash available that you're not forced to make desperate decisions. That's what positioning looks like. It isn't predicting the future perfectly. It's preparing yourself for several possible futures. And here's the biggest mistake I want you to avoid. Don't wait until the opportunity becomes obvious. Because when something becomes obvious to everybody, competition usually arrives with it. The early stage feels uncertain. People question the technology. They question the business model. They say it's overhyped. They say it's too expensive. They say it's not going to change anything. Sometimes they're right. But sometimes they're watching the beginning of a massive economic shift. Your job isn't to believe every new trend. Your job is to investigate, learn, test, think, and look for where real demand is developing. Because hype can disappear overnight, but genuine demand is much harder to fake. That's why the next money wave may not look like a money wave at all. It might look like an ordinary job that suddenly becomes extremely valuable. It might look like a boring infrastructure company supplying something essential. It might look like a skill you learned while everyone else was scrolling. It might even look like the $300 you didn't spend this weekend and instead kept in your emergency fund. Wealth is often built through decisions that don't look impressive in the moment. And that's the part people forget. You don't need to catch the perfect opportunity. You need to become the kind of person who is ready when good opportunities appear. So start there. Build your financial cushion. Control your debt. Increase your earning power. Learn how emerging technology works. Understand what businesses are spending money on. And pay attention to what the next generation of workers will need to know. Because the next money wave isn't necessarily going to announce itself. There won't be a notification saying, "This is the opportunity you've been waiting for." You'll have to recognize it. And 5 years from now, you may look back at this period and realize the clues were everywhere. The money wasn't moving in one direction. It was moving through an entire system. Technology, energy, infrastructure, businesses, skills, jobs, and personal finance. The biggest question isn't, what's the next stock? It's not even, what's the next AI company? The better question is, where is economic value moving next? Then ask yourself, what can I do today to be useful there? That is how you position yourself before the crowd. Not by chasing hype. Not by gambling on predictions. Not by waiting for someone on social media to tell you what to buy. By becoming more capable, more financially stable, more adaptable, and more aware of where the world is heading. Because the next money wave may already be building. The only question is whether you'll notice it while it's still forming, or after everyone else has already jumped in. And if you want more videos that break down money, wealth, psychology, and the hidden forces shaping the financial future of everyday Americans, make sure you subscribe. We're going to keep looking beyond the headlines, breaking down what's really happening, and finding the financial lessons most people overlook. No hype, no get-rich-quick promises. Just smarter ways to understand money and the world changing around it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.